Rap mogul Sean Diddy Combs facing a new civil lawsuit accusing him of rape and recording it in the early 2000s. And this appears to be the 12th lawsuit, by the way, against him. And Combs has denied the allegations in all of the lawsuits so far.
Diddy remains in jail after being denied bail twice while he awaits a federal trial on charges of racketeering, forced sex trafficking, and prostitution. He has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty at his arraignment. And here to break down the very latest for us in our Better Call Brian segment is ABC News contributor Brian Buckmire. Brian, thanks for being with us.
Good to see you, man.
My pleasure. Thanks for being here.
Now, before we get to all of the Diddy stuff, I want to ask you about the New York City mayor Eric Adams. He's been indicted following a years-long federal corruption investigation. He says he knows he's innocent and plans to fight the charges. These are serious allegations.
They are very serious allegations. And so far, we know from the investigation, they're looking at Mayor Adams and also people within his inner circle. We've heard many people, two deputy mayors, the commissioner of the NYPD and the chancellor of also New York education system stepping down. And so how far reaching this will be is only a question that we'll see coming in the future. But in terms of his involvement allegedly with the Turkish government and how he might be operating as a foreign agent that's not being registered, the idea is that he could be in violation of FARA, the Foreign Agent Registration Act. And if this all sounds familiar, think Bob Menendez, who is now convicted and facing 120 years in prison, being for bribery, extortion, wire fraud, and violation of FARA. So from what we understand in this investigation, it could be very similar to that.
And we're expected to learn more later today. Let's talk about the allegations against Combs right now. This latest civil lawsuit contains allegations of rape, drugging, and that Diddy videotaped the whole thing. So what type of impact could this civil trial have on the federal trial? So
when it comes to this federal trial, when you look at the dates in which the government is saying the allegations began in 2008 and then moving forward, it closely resembles that of Cassie Ventura's lawsuit that was filed and settled in November of last year. And so all other lawsuits, you said we have like 12 now. There's going to be a big point of corroboration and also furthering allegations. So when the government goes and gets all of these videos and they have all of these alleged victims saying in these videos you're going to see drugs and sex and that person's a sex worker and that person was against their will and the doors are locked, that's just going to further help a federal investigation and criminal prosecution of Sean Combs.
And speaking of those interviews, many have resurfaced online. Let's take a look at one that he did with Conan O'Brien back in 2002.
I don't know if guys have noticed this, like a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They just, so you have, if you don't have what they need, they're gonna leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
yeah.
So when you listen to this, could it come back to haunt him at trial?
So let me do this. In my mind, what I'm doing is I'm doing the analysis that a judge, prosecutor, and defense attorney would argue and ultimately decide on. The first thing I'm thinking about is this relevant? Relevant meaning, does this information have a tendency to prove or disprove an element to the crime? And we're talking about sex trafficking, transportation for the purpose of prostitution, and racketeering conspiracy. Providing water for women at a party? Maybe not. It's not really relevant unless you have a witness come up and say,
yeah, but
hey,
locking doors and...
That's, counselor, you're jumping a little ahead here. I'm walking us through this, okay? But the locking of the doors, to your point, that one we're talking about sex trafficking and not allowing women to leave under their own, for fear of duress or force or fraud, that's more likely to come in. But of course, if we have a witness come and say, hey, we have these freak-offs with drugs and partying, whatever, and we have to give these women water so that they can survive these illegal freak-offs, now the comment about water seems more relevant. The other issue is this more probative than it is prejudicial? If that testimony about water comes in, the locking of the doors like you're suggesting, it could come in.
Diddy was known for the parties that he threw. It was like a who's who of entertainment and music industry that would show up to these parties. Is there any possible legal trouble for people being at those parties where these things happened?
Yeah, so it's definitely a big question that a lot of people ask me because they throw out the big names like, oh, is this person going to be interrogated by the police, or are they going to be interviewed, or are they going to be questioned at trial? The way I would say it is to think about this. What did they know when they went to those parties? What did they participate in when they went to those parties? For the person who simply goes in and let's say that the freak off start at midnight, so to speak. They show up at 9, they're gone by 11:30, they're none the wiser. I wouldn't really worry about any kind of criminal prosecution there. But if, for example, they do the same thing, but they bring a partner with them, they know the freaks offs are happening, and they say, you should stay past midnight, I'm gonna leave. You may not participate in it, but you've brought someone to that freak off, you've participated in that racketeering conspiracy, and you could be on the hook. Now, of course, people who participated knew what was going on, that's a clear-cut question, but it's all about knowledge and participation.
A lot we still don't know. Brian Buckmire, thank you as always.
My pleasure.
Thank you.